Did you know that 70% of employees avoid difficult conversations in the workplace? And 53% of employees handle toxic situations by ignoring them. Today's episode of Chronicles of a Female Engineer, I discuss how to handle difficult conversations at work. And the first key tip I have is that I don't even need to say is don't avoid it. But if someone is under-delivering on their projects or always coming in late, these conversations need to be had. You want to avoid the festering that can create a toxic work environment, lower morale, and genuine dissatisfaction at work, which then increases stress, which none of us need. So I'll step through 5 tips to help you handle difficult conversations. The first one, have a plan. Understand what you want to say before you go into that meeting. Essentially, you want to set up your conversation in a way that specifies what the problem is, what the impact is that it's having, and what the request is that you want as a result of it. So use inclusive language. For example, I've noticed that you've been regularly coming into work late. This has resulted in a number of our critical reports being submitted late. This has flow-on effects for the department and upwards in the company. I was wondering if everything is okay at home, in your personal life, that I may not be aware of, but we need to resolve this. I would like this to improve. So that approach enables the person to understand what the problem is, what impact it's having, and what the recommended course of action is. You will also notice that the use of I language has helped to not make the person feel attacked or victimized. Essentially, it is your perspective, it's your observation, and it's your presentation of the facts. So the second I is allow them the opportunity to be heard. So if they disagree with what you've said, they need to have the opportunity to say what they disagree with. So yes, they might say, yes, I have been coming in late. I'm actually battling dropping off my child, and this has resulted in me being late. So in this case, you can make an arrangement that maybe they stay a bit later, or everything is completed the day before. Some sort of arrangement is made to ensure that you don't are late anymore. So having an opportunity to agree and be open to challenge and taking that into account will help. If you still have the same standpoint after they've presented their side of the case, well, you can let that be known too. Third step though is to actively listen. Yes, you may have planned the conversation, assumed how it was going to go, but do let the person's responses at the time be heard and listen to them actively, understand what they're saying, what it is, and then use the opportunity after that to say, if I've understood this correctly, what you're saying is that you have got commitments at home which are always interfering and resulting in you being late. Is this correct? And that way the person feels heard, they feel that the rapport has been established, that they're being engaged rather than a conversation being forced on them. The fourth tip is to close out the conversation. So once the solution has been determined and it's been communicated, you want to be in a position to say, look, I'm glad we're able to discuss this issue about lateness. We've now agreed that you're going to be in a position to complete any prioritized work, particularly around reporting on the day before to ensure that it's not late, and that you can alert me should anything unexpected come in and prevent that from happening. Anything else that I've missed? In this way, everyone is understanding what the requirement is, what the conclusion is of the conversation, and if anything needs to be put into writing, if there's a follow-up email, or if anything has been put on a record, that sort of information you want to be able to ensure that you've closed out the conversation to ensure everyone is aware of the outcome of the conversation. The fifth tip is to follow up. It's always good to follow up on a difficult conversation. This may be after a specific period of time, depending on how long it takes to implement the change that was requested. So perhaps in this case, after a couple of weeks, you may come and see that employee and say, look, I noticed that this last fortnight, you have only been late once. You gave me prior information about that. So I really wanted to let you know that I'm glad our discussion was fruitful and you were able to implement what we discussed. So that's a quick heads up. It closes up the conversation, keeps the person acknowledged that you've noticed the change, the improvement, and that you're pleased with how that's progressing. This way, everyone knows where everything is at. So make sure you do not let difficult conversations fester. Don't let them be avoided. It doesn't help in the stress factor, and this can infiltrate to the rest of the team in the department. Now, this communication approach can also be used when you are needing to perhaps have a difficult discussion or challenge something that your supervisor is requesting from you. For example, if more work is coming to your table and you don't have the capacity to do that, you can perhaps say, are you okay with me delegating the new project to Jane, as this is actually taking up additional amount of time? Jane is also in a position where she mentioned she's got a little bit of space available, and it's probably worthwhile screening up into this project as well. What are your thoughts about that? This shows that you've identified the impact of the extra project, you've come up with a proposal or resolution, and you're presenting that rather than just coming with problems. I hope that this has helped you challenge and approach difficult conversations. If you've got any future topics that you'd love me to cover as part of the Chronicles, please connect with me on Instagram, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Have a great day.